Story time, okay? Let's rock and roll. This is about KK Hospital, okay? It happened many years ago, and it was told to me by a friend, very old friend, and his mom used to work there as an amma, you know, to take care of the, so back then you used to have the ammas, right? The older ladies who will help out the nurses and all. They will do all the other work and all. So my grandma also worked in SGS as amma. So she used to tell stories because she used to follow the people to the mortuary when they roll the bodies in, if it, especially if it's female, right, to make sure everything is prim and proper, and then they give it a lot of respect lah. And then, so my grandma also told us a story. Yeah, so that's a story for another day. So this story is about KK, and happened many years ago in the old KK building. Okay, and so now, so what happened was there was this couple who were trying for a baby for a while, and finally she was expecting a child. They were very happy, and so she went into a bit of labor pain, and so the husband brought her to the hospital. But the husband was a working guy, very busy. So the wife told him, make sure you're with me, and so don't go off to work and all, and you just stay with me. So the husband, okay lah, they quite close. So they were not very wealthy, so they put her in a general ward. Okay, so they put her on a general ward, and she was like getting into labor, and then so she was going through extensive long time, so she was in labor for a long time, and so they wheeled her into the operating theater, and the doctor came out and told the husband, now listen, your wife is having a bit of issues. We can't deliver the child in the normal way. We have to do a cesarean for her. So the husband was, very scared lah. He said, just please, take care of my wife, and please do a, good job lah, So the doctor, assured him, and so they put the wife into a C-sec. Okay, so cesarean. The wife delivered a baby, and so when she delivered the baby, after C-sec, she's under operation, under anesthetic and all, they wheeled her out. So the husband was allowed to go and visit his wife and the baby. So baby was healthy. Wife, the doctor said everything went okay, no problem. She's just that she's still drowsy under anesthetic. So we have to give her some time. She'll be put in observation room. But right now we don't have any space in the observation room as well. And we can't put her in a normal ward. We need to put her somewhere close to where the nurses are. So let me have a talk with the staff and see what I can do. So the doctor assured him. And so later on, one of the nurses came in and said, so we're going to wheel her up to the wards. And we're going to find her a room nearer where the staff is lah. So because we're supposed to put her under observation, but there's no space in the observation ward. So the husband said, okay, fine, that's fine, as long as everybody is healthy. So he was happy to have a baby boy, and so they wheeled her to one of the buildings of KK, and then that ward was more of an expensive ward. So husband was wondering, how am I going to pay for this? Because he wanted the normal ward, and then he was asking the nurse, you don't have the normal ward now? She said, no, there's no more space everywhere, but don't worry, I think the charges will be the same. It's just that right now she's under observation, so they want to keep her close to where the staff is, so anything they can look after her. The husband said then, okay, fine, was quite happy. So they wheeled her near the reception, and then there was two more nurses sitting at the staff counter. And so the nurse informed them, okay, we need to put her here because no space anywhere. And so the staff, look through the papers. Back then, don't have computer and all, look through the papers and see. which area they can put her in. And then they said, oh, so there was a new staff there, a new nurse who just started work, and then a more senior nurse. And so the staff said, hey, this room 43 is available. Why don't we put her there? And the room is empty. It's a 2-bedder. And so she told the other staff. Then the other older staff said, no, you just wait. So the husband is standing right there. And then, so my friend's mom also, it seems, were there. And then so she said, no, it's free. There's no other space. Just give it to her. And then the older nurse said, no, you just wait. We'll look for something. And then while she was looking around, there was an emergency. So this nurse had to go off. The older nurse had to go off. And so the new staff who was there told the husband, we're going to put her in room 43. It's a nice room. Okay, it's got 2 beds, only 2 beds in that room, but it's quite close to us. So, you know, so it's better for us to keep her there. There's no other space available. Then the husband again asked, how about the charges and all? He said, no, the charge will be the same, but under observation ward. So, you know, we will charge you the normal ward and all that. So the husband said, okay. So they wheeled her in and put her in the room 43. So the wife was still unconscious. So the husband felt, you know, okay, wow, nice room, you know, got big windows and all. And then there was another bed facing this bed, but that was empty. And so the husband said, okay, nice room. And he had an inbuilt toilet back then, which was great. So it's a more expensive room, but they gave it to her because of the situation. Now, so what happened was, the husband, you know, the wife wanted the husband to cancel work and all, take leave and stay. So he was sitting down there for, you know, trying to, you know, take care of the wife. The baby had not been brought in yet because of the fact that she was not conscious. They know she couldn't breastfeed the baby and all. So the staff was taking care of the baby in the baby ward. So he went back to see the baby in the ward and all. And so the husband stayed on. And then, so the wife was coming in and out of conscience after 2 hours already. And then she did ask, hey, where's my baby? So they brought the baby in for the mom to have a look, but she hasn't gained her strength yet. And so they said it's best that you have a good rest tonight, and then tomorrow you should be better, and then we'll teach you how to breastfeed, because it was their first child. So the husband thought, you know, and then he asked the nurse, how many days you think you got to keep her? Then the nurse said, usually because of C-sec, right, at least 3 days. So he was thinking he can't take leave for 3 days. So he was doing like night shift and all. So he told his wife, I tell you what, since you're going to sleep, you need to sleep, right? And why don't you just rest today? I go to work tonight, so I can take off tomorrow and day after. I cannot take 3-4 days, my boss will be unhappy. So the wife was very reluctant. She said, okay, you know, you go to work. He said, you just sleep, because the baby they will bring in tomorrow only. So you have a good night's sleep. And, you know, and then he said, there's a phone. There was a phone in the room as well. And he said, anything, you know, you call my workplace. I'll be there, can you know, just check. So he went to check if the phone is working. The phone is working. So he said, anything, you call my workplace or anything, you can talk to me on the phone. Night shift, not many people in the office. So she said, okay. So he came out and he realized he wanted to go to the toilet. So his wife went back to sleep. He didn't want to disturb her. He went to the toilet. He came out, and then he went to inquire some things with the nurse and all. And while he was inquiring, the phone rang at the reception. And then one of the nurses picked up the phone, and then she said, oh, your wife is calling. She wants us to bring in the baby. She says she feels strong. So he said, oh, really? Oh, okay. But then will the baby sleep with my wife in the room, or you just going to bring her? No, she just wants to see the baby, and then it's usually no lah, C-sec, and they will be too drowsy. We won't keep the baby, let the mom keep the baby overnight because we have to nurse the baby, so we'll bring her. So you'll be there also. Then the nurse say yes. Okay, then I better go to work lah, because I know she'll be, I need to take leave for the next 3 days. So he left. So what happened was, the nurse, the new staff, had brought the baby into the room, and she found that the lady who just gave birth, she was standing up, and she opened the door, and then the room was a bit dark. Then she said, never mind, I know how to take care of my baby, you can just go. I said, oh, do you need me to teach? No, never mind, just leave the baby with me. So the lady opened the door, pulled the trolley in, and closed the door. And then she also said, never mind, just leave the baby with me tonight. Oh, we cannot do that, ma'am, because it's for your own safety. No, don't worry. No, because we also got to come and give you medicine later in another 1-2 hours. I will take the baby back down. You cannot, because you're under observation. Say, okay. Close the door. So the staff came and sat, and then the other staff came in and said, hey, what happened? Say, I put her in room 43. So she said, why you put her in room 43? So no, it's vacant. And then she said, why? So no, you don't know anything lah. You knew lah. Everything okay no? Yeah, okay. So the older staff said, I got to go back home already. I'm already done overtime already. Now it's already 7+ already. I got to go back home. You keep an eye on the room 43. You must keep an eye on the room 43 and take care. Anything, then you call the staff nurse or the duty doctor. Okay, just keep an eye on them. If you can go and have a look in the room once in a while, do that. Okay, pay attention. So the new staff was a bit puzzled. Why is so difficult? She's taking care of so many people and babies and all that, the ladies, all that. She said, okay, no problem. So the older staff left. And so, what happened was, while all this was happening outside, the lady who had just given birth, her name is Josephine. Sorry, I didn't tell her name. So Josephine kind of was still drowsy and in the room. And she kind of like heard some noise, like baby noise and all that in the room. This was happening in the room. And she kind of opened her eyes to see. So it was a bit dark. The room light was switched off because earlier she had the light on, but she could see through the window because she had a big window. Through the silhouette, through the light, she could see a silhouette of a person or a lady holding a baby and breastfeeding and walking in the room. She was thinking, oh, they must have put another person in the room, And so she was still very drowsy, and she just looked at it. She didn't even have enough energy to talk. But while she was looking at the person, that person turned around, still breastfeeding, looked at Josephine, looked directly at Josephine while still breastfeeding the child. But Josephine, was too weak to even communicate, so she just fell back to sleep. But she could hear the baby just whimpering and all that, making a bit of noise, and then the baby then she could hear a humming like a song. Somebody really soothing the baby, putting the baby to sleep and all that. And so Josephine felt very calm. There's another person in the room. I don't feel so lonely, And then she had good thoughts because she can see a baby tomorrow. She fell back to sleep again. And so the husband somehow didn't feel comfortable at work. So even his boss told him, hey, you go back to the hospital. His supervisor was on duty at work. Go back to the hospital. Why you come here? Say, no, I don't want to take leave. Say, never mind, I'll talk to the boss. You go back to the hospital. You take care of your wife is alone. How can you? So what he did was, he took his motorbike he went back to the hospital about 4 or 5 in the morning. And so when she went back, he didn't see anybody at the counter. So he saw, while he walked past one of the rooms, the nurse was inside another room attending to another patient. So he went straight to the room. So he thought his wife might be sleeping. So he slowly opened the door. Just pushed it ajar. He saw the room was dark. How come they switch off the light? Maybe the nurse switched off the light, let maybe wife sleep open. He saw a lady sitting on the opposite bed with her back facing the door, and she is holding a baby. And he could see another baby in the cot, asleep. So he said, oh, they put somebody inside the room. Maybe had twins or what. Then he said, sorry. I just wanted to see my wife. He said in a very soft voice. Then the lady turned around and looked at him, breastfeeding her baby. So he thought, he felt very awkward. So the husband felt very awkward. He said, oh, sorry, I'll come back later. He closed the door. He went out and he sat down. He just sat down for a while. He said, okay, I don't know how long this will take, but maybe my wife must be sleeping. That's why my wife also, the room is dark. Never mind, let her sleep. I'll just sit here for a while. So it was almost like 7+, and then the nurses were all busy, and then the nurse who had checked them into the room came and said, hello sir, how are you? You never see your wife? No, I went in, but there's another lady who was breastfeeding her child. I don't want to disturb lah. Another lady? Yeah. There was another lady breastfeeding, so I felt very bad lah. And then I thought my wife sleeping. But I said, no sir, there's nobody else in the room. Only your wife is alone in the room. No. There is and I think she got twins because she was carrying one baby, and there's another baby in the cot. I said, no. Your wife actually insisted on keeping the baby last night, and she said she was breastfeeding, and we saw the baby also, like no noise coming from the room. She didn't even let us into the room. And I thought, okay lah, maybe some mothers are like that. I'm new here, I also don't want to cause, as long as everything is peaceful, I didn't disturb. So now we got to go and check if everything is okay. He said, are you sure or not? Yeah. I said, come go see. So both of them went, opened the door, and they saw the wife sleeping. And the baby was in the opposite bed, on the opposite cot, sleeping soundly. So he said, where's the other lady? And there was another baby. So the nurse said, maybe somebody from another room came in or what? He said, I don't know, because I saw her. So I came and sat outside. I think I must have dozed off. So I don't know whether there's another person in the room. So they thought it was all very bizarre. But the nurse, when they checked the baby was, full and sound asleep. Say, okay, better don't disturb. So they wheeled the baby out and brought it to the, put to the baby center over there. And then the wife woke up. And then the husband said, hey, not bad, you can. And then the nurse was also there. Said, oh, you're very strong, ma'am. You can take care of your baby. They said, what do you mean? No, your baby was with you last night. No, you called us and you told us not to bring the baby in. You wanted to take care. And I spoke to you. You didn't want to let me into the room. And so you didn't let us take the baby. The baby was with you. And I think you must have fed the baby, because the baby seemed full, the tummy seemed full, and the baby is sleeping. So the mother, Josephine, was like, are you sure? No lah. I got knocked out lah. Middle of the night, I think I woke up. I thought I saw another person. You put another patient, right, in the room. So I said, no, you hold on, let me go check. So she thought maybe another staff had put somebody else in the room. She was very confused. And so by the time she went out, she saw another nurse, so she inquired. The morning staff was coming into duty already, more staff was coming in. So everybody was busy. So the staff nurse came and said, hey, who put somebody in room 43? How come there's somebody in room 43? So the staff, oh, she's the new girl. Did everything okay? Yeah, everything okay, but it's very strange because she asked us to bring the baby in, and then she said she never said. Then the staff said, maybe, she's drowsy, she didn't realize. Never mind, we will take care of it. So your shift finished, right? You better go back. Oh, I need to tell the lady. No, you no need, just go back. So after that, the staff nurse went into the room and she checked if everything was okay and everybody's okay. And so they said, okay, you can nurse the baby, but we want to shift you to another room. I found that there's another vacant room. We will shift you to there, and there's more bedders. Then the husband said, oh, everything okay? Yeah, because what happened? He said, no lah, maybe she told her husband separately, maybe she was on medicine, she didn't realize, but as long as she fed the baby, everything is fine. We will transfer to another room for one more day. Your wife looks okay. By tomorrow, she should get discharged already. So the husband said, okay. And so they shifted to another ward. That one had more beds, very much more lively. A lot of people, the visitors all came. So her husband was there, spent 2 days with her. Everything was fine and peaceful, no issues. And so the next day, that means the third day after the operation, she got discharged. And so they went back home. And so the first night came. And so while they were sleeping, they found that the baby was crying, and then Josephine picked the baby up, breastfed the baby, and put the baby down. So there was one time that happened like early, just after midnight. So usually for a new nursing baby, you will wake up every 3 hours and so on. That's why, parents can't sleep because of the fact the baby will keep waking up and difficult to put the baby back to sleep. So, so they thought just leave the baby down. So while they left the baby down, the baby kind of calmed down. And the baby was just looking at the ceiling all the time. And he was just very calm. And so they went back to sleep again. The baby slept in the same room as both the parents. And then the husband had a dream. The husband had a dream that there was a baby next to him. And he thought, how come the wife had put the baby next to him? It was supposed to be in the cot. And somewhere at the edge of the bed, because his wife was sleeping behind, the cot was on the other side. So he pulled the blanket to carry the baby. The baby only had a head, didn't have a body. The husband got a shock. He got up from the dream. He said, what's going on? Oh my God. And then he saw that the baby was sleeping in the cot and his wife was sleeping next to it. Everything seemed fine. Alamak, bad dream lah. So he went back to bed again. And then the baby, and both husband and wife were tired, right? They woke up the next day. The baby didn't cry, but the baby seemed full. And then, the husband didn't want to tell the wife about this dream because he didn't want to scare her about the bodiless, just the head of the baby, right? And so what happened was, so through the day and all, the baby would cry and they will go into the room, but the baby will stop crying. And so they thought it was bizarre. And when Josephine brought the baby to latch onto her to feed, the boy to feed, he wouldn't feed. And they thought it was something wrong. So they thought, maybe he wasn't drinking milk that well, but it seemed full and he didn't cry. And so second night came. So second night, what happened when they had just nursed the baby, put the baby to bed, This time Josephine had a dream. Josephine had a dream where there was a lady standing over the baby and looking at the baby and humming to the baby the same song, the same tune that she had heard in the hospital. So Josephine kind of like woke up like in a half sleepy manner, and she could see a person standing over the cot of a baby and humming a tune. And she got up quickly, she rubbed her eyes, nobody there. Then her husband got up and said, "Everything okay?" She said, "I just dreamt somebody in the room lah, stroking our baby, humming a tune to our baby." He said, "You sure?" "Yeah." He said, "This is very bizarre." So through the night, they felt very strange. They keep waking up, and Josephine kept hearing the same tune again and again. But the baby was very calm. So much so, they got very worried. They brought the baby back to KK the next day. They checked with the doctors. The doctor checked the baby. He said, "No, the baby seemed like it's full. No issues with the baby. Maybe you guys just, sometimes you lack of sleep, you are hallucinating and all that. So it's normal." And then, so my friend's mother happened to see them in the ward. And she came to them. So my friend's mother, I told you, she's the one who told my friend this story. She used to work there as an amma. So she came to them and she said, "Hello, hi, you remember you were warded in my ward, in the special ward?" I say, "Yeah, I remember. Say, "They put you in room 43. Yeah, I remember." I say, "Yeah. Everything okay with you?" She said, "Why you say that? Huh? I think we also need to talk to somebody lah." Because the husband also had told Josephine of the dream he had. And so they asked her, "What's going on?" Because we having bad dreams. Even that night, I thought I saw somebody carrying a baby in the room. I didn't ask for the baby to be brought in. Somebody had called the counter. So they told that, the amma the story. So the amma said, "Listen, that room, usually we don't let any patient into that room, but the new girl put you inside because that room is not a good room, so we don't put any patient there." Then they said, "What do you mean?" "Or this many years ago this happened lah, the room is not very clean lah, they always people say they see a mother and a child in that room, and somebody claimed that maybe they had passed away during childbirth or what, both mother and baby had passed away, and that person is just in the hospital." Not a bad thing lah, but people are scared lah, and always that room 43, so we all suspect maybe the person passed away in that room or something, but they are always attached to that room, so we don't give that room to anybody. So if we get 2 patients, we will put the 2 patients in, but if we have 1 patient, we won't give. Say, "Really?" The husband got very angry. He said, "How can you do that?" Say, "Mistake by the young nurse lah. She's new staff, she don't know anything, but so everything okay?" "No, I think the lady is coming back to haunt our baby, still attached to our baby." "Oh, then you better go and speak to somebody to settle this lah. If not, this has happened before. So what we suggest is just go see somebody lah, bring some holy men to the house to do prayer and all." And so they did that lah. That's what we heard at the end of the day. So some soul has been, had passed on, still hanging there. And so once that entity got hold of this baby, was very attached to the baby, and so from what was said later on, what my friend's mom told us was the medium had come to the house because they had, she had kept in touch with that girl to make sure everything was, because she also very motherly, my friend's mother, very motherly, wanted to keep in touch with her to check. So according to Josephine and the husband, they had brought a Chinese medium, and he had said that lady had passed on with a child, but likes to take care of children, and so, and want to nurse the children and all, and so so the soul was attached themselves to this baby, and so it's not a bad soul, but they managed to, you know, cleanse the house and all to make sure there's no more problem. So this is what was heard about this whole incident lah, you know. So yeah, so that was the story for today. This is something I heard from my friend's mom. From my friend. My friend's mom had passed on already, so she used to work in the old KK hospital. I'm sure